Bestow on him the blessings of good health and peace of mind and heart, and grant him the reward you promised to the faithful and the compassionate. May all his vicarious sacrifices sanctify his life. In the same way, we lift to you, O Lord, our prayers and our supplications for his family. Hear, O Lord, the silent prayer of every heart. Sanctify with your grace, O God, the life of everyone present, all our honored guests, and bless all personnel of the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. With sincerity, we implore your distinct benediction on President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, our Commander-in-Chief. Finally, may the God of life, the God of providence, the God of our history and destiny, bless, protect, and prosper every Filipino in peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated.
The Adjutant General, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Colonel Maxima O. Ignacio, will read the relief and designation orders.
General Headquarters, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City. General Orders number 1206, published on 25 October 2017. Section 1, Paragraph 1, Termination. Designation of General Eduardo Monaghan Año, Officer DAS 8678, as Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, is terminated effective 25 October 2017. Section 2, Paragraph 1, Designation. Lieutenant General Ray Leonardo Borja Guerrero, Officer DAS 8951, is designated as Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, effective 25 October 2017. By command of General Año, Official Narciso A. Vingson Jr., Vice Admiral, Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Deputy Chief of Staff, signed Maxima O. Ignacio, Colonel, Philippine Air Force, General Staff Corps, the Adjutant General.
The outgoing Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Eduardo M. Año, will read and sign the order for his relinquishment of command.
Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City, Office Orders number 16-17, dated 26 October 2017, relinquishment. Pursuant to Section 1, General Orders number 1206, General Headquarters, Armed Forces of the Philippines, dated 25 October 2017. I hereby relinquish the duties and responsibilities as Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, effective this date, and I sign in your presence.
The outgoing Chief of Staff will order the AFP Sergeant Major, First Chief Master Sergeant Romeo H. Andugan, to hold down his personal flag.
AFP Sergeant Major, lower my flag.
The change of command ceremony this morning or this afternoon affords us to share with our guests and colleagues in the government service one of the Armed Forces of the Philippines customs and traditions. For the outgoing Chief of Staff, as he relinquishes his duties and responsibilities to his successor, One of his last orders is the lowering of his personal flag. At this moment, this also symbolizes that his 38 colorful military service has marked its closure.
The encased personal flag of the outgoing Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, will now be presented by the AFP Sergeant Major.
The incoming Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Lieutenant General Leonardo B. Guerrero, will read and sign the order for his assumption of command.
General Headquarters, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Office of the Chief of Staff, Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City, 26 October 2017. Office Orders Number 17-17. Assumption. Pursuant to Section 2, General Orders Number 1206, General Headquarters, Armed Forces of the Philippines, dated 25 October 2017, I hereby assume the duties and responsibilities as Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, effective this date, and I sign in your presence.
We shall now witness the handover of the command symbol to be presided by the President, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Saber is a representation of trustworthiness and steadfastness. This represents responsibility. Saber is associated with military leadership and warfare.
The new Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Lieutenant General Leonardo B. Guerrero, will now give his first order to raise his personal flag. He will also give his remarks.
First Chief Master Sergeant Handugan, raise my flag.
For the new Chief of Staff, one of his first order is the raising of his personal flag. This represents that he is now in command of the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
to our President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, President Rodrigo Duterte, sir. Vice President Maria Leonor Robredo, ma'am. Former President Fidel V. Ramos, sir. And also former AFP Chief of Staff. Former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo and now Congresswoman of 2nd District of Pampanga. Secretary Delphine Lorenzana, the Secretary of National Defense, and Mrs. Edith Lorenzana. General Eduardo M. Año, the 48th Chief of Staff, Mrs. Año and their children. Her mother also, Madam Juliana Año. Members of the Diplomatic Corps, Secretary Wanda Corazon Titeo, the Secretary of Tourism. Members of the House of Representatives present, we have here Congresswoman Elenita Milagros Elmita Buhain from Batangas, Congresswoman Rosano Rufino B. Biason from Muntinlupa City, Congressman Manuel Jose M. Dalipe from Zamboanga City, Congressman Jose Anthony Jonathan C. Alvarado from Bulacan, Congressman Mahmoud Mending from Amin Party List, Congresswoman Bai Sandra Sema from Maguindanao, Congressman Roy Loyola from Cavite, Mr. Peter Eric Pardo, representative of Congresswoman Rubiano from Pasay City. May I also greet my wife, Jane, and our children, Gabriel, Victor, Paulo, Rafael Waldo, and Lubina Ray. Please stand to be recognized. May I also greet my brothers from the UP Vanguard, headed by Brigadier General Emmanuel Caiton. Please stand up to be recognized. My Mason brothers from the Kagitingan Lodge 286, represented by or headed by Mr. Rufino G. Arias Jr. Please stand up to be recognized. Officials from Malacanang present, we have here Secretary Arthur Tabaquero, the Presidential Advisor on Military Affairs. Secretary Salvador Espanelo Jr., the Chief Presidential Legal Counsel. Special Assistant to the President, Christopher Lawrence Tigo. Secretary Hermogenes C. Esperon Jr., the National Security Advisor. Yusek Gloria Humamil Mercado, the Cabinet Secretary. Former Secretary of National Defense, Secretary Orlando Mercado. The former Chiefs of Staff of the AFP present, we have here General Lisandro Abadia, General Benjamin Defensor Jr., General Dionisio Santiago, General Generoso Senga, General Alexander Llano, General Victor S. Ebrado, Yusek Emmanuel T. Bautista, the Executive Director of the Cabinet Cluster on Security, Peace and Justice, General Gregorio Catapang Jr., General Hernando DCA Riberi and his wife, Agnes, Ma'am Agnes, General Ricardo Visaya, Lieutenant General Glorioso Miranda, officials from the Department of National Defense, General Tan Sridato Zulkifli of Chief of Army Defense Malaysia and other Malaysian officials. We have here also Police Director General Roland M. De La Rosa, Lieutenant General Salvador Mison Jr., the Vice Chief of Staff. May also recognize the Executive Secretary, Secretary Salvador Meljaldeser, the Deputy Chief of Staff of the AFP, Vice Admiral Narciso Vingson, Major Service Commanders present, Vice Admiral Ronald Joseph Mercado, the Flag Officer in Command of the Philippine Navy, Lieutenant General Rolando Joselito Bautista of the Philippine Army, Lieutenant General Galileo Quintanar of the Air Force, Unified Commanders present, former Major Service Commanders present. We have here Lieutenant General Romeo Tolentino, Vice Admiral Ferdinand Goles, Vice Admiral Cesar Tacad, Lieutenant General Jaime de los Santos, our Chief Chaplain, Brigadier General Tirso Dolina, members of the Joint Personnel and Special Staff and Commanders and Chiefs of AAP-wide support and separate units and their ladies, members of PMA Matikas class of 1983 and their ladies, members of PMA Maharlika class of 1994 and their ladies, please stand up to be recognized. Other generals, flag officers and their ladies, other senior officers present, our enlisted personnel corps led by our AFP Command Sergeant Major, First Chief Master Sergeant Handugan, the civilian employees of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Colonel Ernest Lee, Chief JUSMAG, members of the Foreign Armed Forces Attaches and their ladies, our friends from the AFP Multi-Sectoral Governance Council, AFP Financial Institutions, Hero Foundation and Association of Generals and Flag Officers, other government officials present, AFP Officers Ladies Club members, Team AFP, our friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. A soldier's life is defined largely by the service he renders, his fidelity to the flag, and his unwavering dedication to securing the peace. All this I adhere to. All this I pledge as I take on the challenge of leading the Armed Forces of the Philippines as the 49th Chief of Staff. President Duterte, sir, my gratitude knows no bounds, and I believe that the best way for me to show to you and to our countrymen my gratitude is to serve our country with selfless dedication and to lead the AFP with purpose. This is my pledge. This is my covenant. The priorities in the area of peace and security are clear. Finish the remaining terrorist groups, neutralize the communist insurgency threat, and support law enforcement agencies in efforts against lawless armed groups. Our Commander-in-Chief gave these marching orders to those who came before me. And like those before me, I intend to use the might of the AFP to make this a reality. The perseverance, sacrifices, and hard works of our troops have brought solid results in winning the peace and in bringing us closer to the people. Men and women of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, our labor continues as we build on these victories. Together, let us do better, work harder, fight smarter, and serve our countrymen even more. For us to be able to do so, we need to continue our reforms to attain operational and organizational excellence. Operationally, we will continue to improve our capability to address current and future security challenges. We will revisit our war-fighting doctrines to consider new battlefield environments and subsequently train and equip our soldiers to operate in the same. We will aggressively implement our modernization program and fast-track the procurement of advanced weapon systems that provide cost-effective and precise target engagement, long-range and high-endurance unmanned systems, and modern air and naval platforms for strategic lift, interdiction, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Organizationally, emphasis will be given to current efforts to build a strong armed forces through the AFP transformation and defense reform programs. We will continue to refine and streamline our internal systems and processes to improve not only the efficiency and effectiveness of our services, but more importantly, the transparency and accountability of our transactions. Our human resources will be developed as we procure additional personnel to fill up new units to be organized. Leader development will be enhanced to better prepare emerging leaders to assume key positions in our organization and for them to effectively discharge their duties and responsibilities in a complex security environment. A review of existing military camps and installations will be undertaken to ensure that they conform to our basing strategy. The organization and capability of our reserve force, to include active auxiliaries, will be strengthened in order to improve their readiness to respond to the call to service. All of this we will pursue even as we continue to look after the welfare of our men, most especially our battle casualties. Men and women of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, there is no better time for us to finish our campaign than now. Our high approval and trust ratings show that we have the overwhelming support of our countrymen, and our Commander-in-Chief is providing us with the tools and resources that we need to prosecute our mission. It is now up to us to continue to fulfill our part. President Duterte, sir, allow me to reiterate my gratitude for this opportunity to serve as the AFP Chief of Staff. I also thank Secretary Delfin Lorenzana for his affirmation and endorsement, and General Eduardo M. Año and the Board of Generals for recommending me to this position. To my loving wife, Jane, and my children, Gabi, Paulo, Rafi, and Nina, who have all endured my absences with grace and understanding, you are my inspiration and the anchors of my life. To the men and women of the AAP, I urge you all to adhere to the highest standards of excellence and professionalism as we continue to fulfill our mission and as we live up to our pledge. Day in and day out, as we go about our duties, remember always that the hopes and dreams of many of our countrymen depend on how well we perform our patrols, how relentless we are in the face of storm or quake or siege, and on how committed we are in the service of God, country, and people. To our partners and stakeholders, please continue to support our troops as they give their best to win the peace and win the future. To General Año, sir, thank you for your outstanding stewardship of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. The men and women of the AAP are grateful for your dedicated service. Fellow soldiers, ours is a duty unique and invaluable, and it is the Filipino people's faith in our commitment and our capability that will drive us to secure, rescue, and protect. I am confident that with your dedication and zeal, we will prove to be an instrument of peace and an enabler of progress. I know that your bravery and patriotism will continue to be the impetus in our quest to be the armed forces that our country can truly be proud of. Our way ahead is clear. Our targets are in sight. Let us move forward together with purpose. Mabuhay ang sandatang lakas ng Pilipinas. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Salamat po.
Thank you to the new Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines.
We shall move on to the retirement ceremony of General Eduardo Monaghan Año.
General Año, sir, please stand and step forward as the Adjutant General, Armed Forces of the Philippines, reads the retirement order.
Republic of the Philippines, Department of National Defense, General Headquarters, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City. General Orders Number 767, published on 10 July 2017. Compulsory retirement. Pursuant to Sections 5A and 17 of Presidential Decree Number 1638, as amended, and in consonance with Presidential Administrative Order Number 150, dated 04 January 1990. General Eduardo Monaghan Año, Officer DAS 8678, Armed Forces of the Philippines, having completed 38 years, 6 months, and 25 days of active military service in the Armed Forces of the Philippines from 01 April 1979 to 25 October 2017, is compulsorily retired in the rank of General, with retirement pay based on the salary grade of General, with fifth longevity pay effective 26 October 2017. By order of the Secretary of National Defense, Official Eduardo M. Año, General, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Chief of Staff, signed Maxima O. Ignacio, Colonel, Philippine Air Force, General Staff Corps, the Adjutant General.
We'd like to request General Año, sir, to remain in front, to be joined by Mrs. Jean Jocelyn Maria D. Año, as we shall proceed with the presentation of Command Plaque, Plaque of Honorable Service, encased Philippine flag, and the framed medals.
The new Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Lieutenant General Ray Leonardo B. Guerrero, is requested to present the plaques and frame medals to be assisted by the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel J1, Brigadier General Arnel M. Duco.
In grateful acknowledgement of his eminently meritorious and valuable service rendered as Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines from 08 December 2016 to 26 October 2017, the command plaque is hereby presented to General Eduardo M. Anyo, Officer-8678, Armed Forces of the Philippines. In recognition of his 38 years, 6 months, 25 days of faithful and honorable service to the Armed Forces of the Philippines from 01 April 1979 to 25 October 2017, the plaque of honorable service is presented to General Eduardo M. Anyo, Officer-8678, Armed Forces of the Philippines.
The spouse, Mrs. Jean Jocelyn Maria D. Año, will be presented with a plaque of appreciation.
In grateful appreciation of her unselfish, faithful, and devoted support to her husband's lasting contribution and dedicated service to the AFP and to our nation, the plaque of appreciation is presented to Miss Jean Jocelyn Maria D. Año.
Framed medals is presented to General Anyo. This contains all the awards and decorations that the honoree was conferred with during his tour of duty. Thank you to the new Chief of Staff and to J1. This time, the Philippine flag will be presented to the honoree. President Rodrigo Duterte is requested for the presentation of the encased Philippine flag to the honoree to be assisted by the Secretary of National Defense. The symbol of aspirations and existence is men and women in the noble profession of arms, the Philippine flag. This will be presented to General Anyo. The flag is an embodiment of a great nation. This carries several symbols of which would remind General Anyo of his fruitful years of military career. Thank you very much to President Duterte and to the Secretary of National Defense. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for our honoree and his lady.
Let us hear the valedictory address of our honoree. Please welcome General Eduardo Monaghan Anyo.
With the permission of our Commander-in-Chief, Major General Pilimon Santos Jr., give the troops tikas pahinga.
Take off! Here! Take off. Here.
President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, the President of the Republic of the Philippines and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Vice President Maria Leonor Robredo, Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines, former President Fidel B. Ramos, and also a former Chief of Staff, AFP. Former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, ma'am, and now Congresswoman of the 2nd District of Pampanga, Secretary Delpin N. Lorenzana, Secretary of National Defense, and Mrs. Edith Lorenzana. Lieutenant General Ray Leonardo B. Guerrero, the newly designated Chief of Staff, AFP, and Mrs. Jane Guerrero, and their children, Gabriel Antonio, Victor Paulo, Rafael Waldo, and Lubina Ray. My lovely wife, Jean, and our children, Edwin Jr. and Anna, Edward and Christine, Janelle Marie, Jasmine Claire, and our grandchildren, Xander and Carrie. My loving mother, Nanay Huling. Executive Secretary, Salvador Meljaldea, sir. Members of the Diplomatic Corps, His Excellency Asad Alam Sham of Bangladesh, His Excellency Xiao Jianhua of China, His Excellency Ephraim Ben Matityaw of Israel, His Excellency Win Naing of Myanmar, His Excellency Luis Antonio Calvo Castaño of Spain, His Excellency Juvencio de Jesus Martins of Timor-Leste, His Excellency Sung E. Kim of USA, Secretary Wanda Corazon Teo, Secretary of Tourism, members of the House of Representatives, Congresswoman Elenita Milagros Ermita Buhain from Batangas, Congressman Rosano Rupino Biason from Muntinlupa City, Congressman Manuel Jose Dalipe from Zamboanga City, Congressman Jose Anthony Jonathan C. Alvarado from Bulacan, Congressman Mahmoud Mending Jr. from Amin Party List, Congressman Roy Loyola from Cavite, Congresswoman Bai Sandra Sema from Maguindanao, Mr. Peter Eric Pardo, representative of Congresswoman Rubiano from Pasay City. Families, relatives, and friends of the Anyo and Joso clan, please stand up. Thank you. Officials from Malacanang, Secretary Artur Tabaquero, Presidential Advisor on Military Affairs, Secretary Salvador Panelo Jr., Chief Presidential Legal Counsel, Special Assistant to the President, Secretary Christopher Lawrence Go, Secretary Jimenez Esperon Jr., the National Security Advisor, Yusek Gloria Humamel Mercado, Cabinet Secretary, former Secretary of National Defense, Secretary Orlando Mercado, General Tan Sri Datu Sri Sulkifli bin Qasim, the Chief of the Malaysian Army, and other Malaysian officials. Former Chiefs of Staff of the AFP, General Lisandro Abadia, General Benjamin Defensor Jr., Presidential Advisor on Anti-Terrorism, General Junicio Santiago, General Generoso Senga, General Alexander Llano, General Victor Ibrado, Yusek Emmanuel T. Bautista, Executive Director of the Cabinet Cluster on Security, Peace, and Justice, General Gregorio Catapang Jr., General Hernando DCA Iriberi and wife Agnes, General Ricardo Bisaya, Police Director General Ronald De La Rosa, the Chief Philippine National Police, and other PNP officers, Lieutenant General Salvador Melchor Mison Jr., the Vice Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, and his wife Cherry, Vice Admiral Narciso Bingson Jr., Deputy Chief of Staff, AP, and Dr. Beth Bingson. Our Major Service Commanders, Vice Admiral Ronald Joseph Mercado, Flag Officers in Command, Philippine Navy, and his wife Emily, Lieutenant General Rolando Joselito Bautista, the Commanding General of the Philippine Army, and his wife Shirley Ann, Lieutenant General Galileo Gerald Quintanar Jr., the Commanding General of the Philippine Air Force, and his wife Dr. Marlene, Unified Commands and Commanders and JTF NCR Commander, Lieutenant General and Mrs. Emmanuel Salamat, Commander NOLCOM, Lieutenant General and Mrs. Carlito Galvez Jr., Commander West Mincom, Lieutenant General and Mrs. Oscar Lactao, Commander Central Command, Major General and Mrs. Benjamin Madrigal Jr., Commander Solcom, and Brigadier General Jesus Manangkil, Commander JTF NCR. May also recognize former Major Service Commanders, Lieutenant General Romeo Tolentino, Vice Admiral Ferdinand Goles, Vice Admiral Cesar Tacad, Lieutenant General Jaime de los Santos, Lieutenant General Edgar Palurina and wife Erica, Lieutenant General Glorioso Miranda and wife Caroline, members of the Joint, Personnel, and Special Staff, and Commanders and Chiefs of AP-wide support and separate units and their ladies, members of the PMA Matikas class of 1983 and their ladies, please stand up. Thank you for coming. Members of the PMA Maharlika class of 1984 and their ladies, please stand up. Brigadier General Tirso Dolina, Chief Chaplain Service, other generals, flag officer and their ladies, our enlisted personnel, led by the AP Command Sergeant Major, First Chief Master Sergeant Romeo Handugan, and the civilian employees of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Colonel Ernest Lee, Chief JUSMAG Philippines, members of the Foreign Armed Forces Attaché and their ladies, please stand up. Thank you. Our friends from the AP Multi-Sector Governance Council, headed by Mr. Francisco Estrada, different AP financial institutions, Heroes Foundation, and Association of Generals and Flag Officers. My elementary and high school classmates, please stand up. Ayun pala, the other side. Nasa kabila pala. Other government officials present, AP Officers Ladies Club, our friends from the media, Team AP, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good afternoon to all of you. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1, and I quote, "For everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven," unquote. Sa mga biyaya at pagkakataong ipinagkaloob sa akin, ako po ay lubos na nagpapasalamat sa ating pong may kapal at taos-pusong nagpupugay sa sandatang lakas ng Pilipinas para sa mahigit na 38 taon na makapaglingkod sa bayan at sa ating mga mamamayan bilang isang kawal Pilipino. It has been a singular honor and privilege to serve under the leadership of the President of the Republic of the Philippines and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Gratitude overflows as I say thank you once more for the trust and support you have given me as you challenge me to lead the gallant men and women of the AFP as the 48th Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, serving at the helm during one of the most defining moments of the AFP makes my journey more meaningful and memorable. Rising up to the challenge of fulfilling its mandate to defend and secure our land while sustaining its pursuit of genuine transformation imprinted in the AP Transformation Roadmap has proven the AP's strength and commitment. As testimony to all the men and women of the AP have done together under my watch, may I respectfully submit a book entitled "In Times of War, We Fight for Peace," which documents my tour of duty as the 48th Chief of Staff of the AP. The recent turn of events in our defense and security landscape show how solid we are as Team AFP. Working seamlessly in joint operations, the past months have been filled with notable accomplishments that help in earning the trust and confidence of our stakeholders. Considering the tough and challenging task, I am proud to say that the Team AFP was able to rise above the challenges and fulfill its mandate as protectors of the people and the state. The recent Marawi campaign has proven our eternal resolve to secure peace and stability. The AFP, in its humble ways, contributed to the fight against global terror and helped maintain regional stability. Although we have bled, we have definitely delivered our strong message. Terrorism has no place in the Philippines. For your AFP will always be the vanguard at all costs. I have said this once, and I will say it repeatedly. In times that I visited our troops in Marawi to inspire them, it is them, our brave warriors, who have inspired me instead. As I talk to every soldier in the main battle area, I can definitely feel the highest levels of heroism, and I can see in their eyes an equal fighting spirit. We have heard countless accounts of brave soldiers being wounded and yet refusing to be evacuated and opting to continue fighting instead. Without proper rest, sleep, and food, our brave soldiers pressed on the fight, building after building, street after street. As I personally witnessed this remarkable attitude, I realized that indeed, victory is already on our side. It's just a matter of time. Now that the fighting is over, we give honor to the men and women of our AP, especially our fallen heroes who have offered the supreme sacrifice. Although their mortal bodies are no longer with us, their memories will forever linger, just like burning fire that will eternally give us inspiration to always uphold the Filipino soldiers' tradition of gallantry. Their greatest sacrifice and their heroism will never be forgotten. We often hear people say that there are two great days in the life of a person: the day we are born and the day we discover why. Humbly, in my case, every day I spent being a military man brought me to the discovery of the reason of my existence. Since the moment I took the oath to be part of the noble profession of arms, up until now, serving my last moment as the Chief of Staff, every single day has been a reminder of this borrowed life, of this rare opportunity, and the corresponding need to make it count, to live up to ideals bigger than myself. Because of the service, I had the opportunity to write the pages of my life hand in hand with well-meaning individuals, colleagues, friends, and even adversaries. Ang kwento ng aking serbisyo ay kwento ng mga kasama, mga kaibigan, mga katunggali, at mga mahal sa buhay. Nang dahil sa inyo, malalim, malawak, at may saysay ang aking kasaysayan. If there is one thing I learned and would most likely like to emphasize to all our soldiers, officers, and enlisted personnel alike, it is this: no matter what your position or rank is, you are part of the team. Every player counts. The team either wins or loses with all of you working together or not at all. Positions and titles are temporary. People come and go, but that which we do together, our service at work, lingers far longer, for the ripples outlive us and ensure that the organization evolves, changes, transforms. I say this as well as a reminder to love your job, do your part, and make yourself a formidable, value-filled player of Team AFP. As my military career comes full circle, let me thank everyone who has greatly contributed to the success of the AFP during my stint. Foremost to the Lord Almighty for His perpetual guidance throughout my military career, and for the good health and wisdom that has always shaped my commitment of service, I offer every ounce of glory in His holy name. To the Filipino people, for the trust and confidence you accord your AFP. Ang inyo pong pagtitiwala sa amin, ang siyang nagbibigay lakas at inspirasyon upang magampanan namin ang aming tungkulin ng buong husay at katapatan. We are happy to be tapped as considered to support and participate in resolving other issues beyond our traditional mandate, because it is an affirmation that our service is valued and that our service is never forgotten. There is nothing more rewarding to a soldier than the validation and acknowledgement of the very people they are sworn to defend and protect with their lives. The outpour of support brings the morale of our fighting troops to the greatest heights, inspiring them to fight with all might and never minding the fatigue, the pain, the loneliness, and desolation that they have to endure. Maraming salamat sa inyong pagtitiwala at pagmamalasakit sa ating mga kasundaluhan. To our Commander-in-Chief of the AFP, President Rodrigo Duterte, sir, for the trust and confidence you have given to me. During the most challenging chapters of the AFP, your decisiveness and pure, clear guidance became the huge factor in attaining success. Naging matagumpay ang ating kampanya sa Marawi City sapagkat pinagkatiwala po ninyo ng buo sa sandatang lakas ang paglutas ng suliranin. Naramdaman din namin ang inyong tunay na pagmamahal sa ating mga kawal sapagkat nasaksihan ko ang inyong malasakit sa bawat pagdalaw natin sa ating mga sugatan at namayapang bayaning sundalo. Isang tunay na karangalan ang makapaglingkod sa inyong pamamahala. To the Secretary of National Defense, Secretary Delpin Negrillo Lorenzana, for believing in my capacity towards your leadership and close supervision to the AFP steered us towards the right path. As our martial law administrator, you have tirelessly supported and supervised the AFP to be exemplars of being true public servants and protectors of the people. We are truly grateful to have an exemplary leader whose wisdom and concern became our steady source of strength. To the members of the AFP Multi-Sectoral Governance Council, for your honest feedbacks and genuine sincerity. You have steadily been the conscience of AFP in all our steps towards attaining effective and enduring transformation. Thank you for providing us direction and being our moral compass as we tread the challenging road to become a world-class armed force that our countrymen will be proud of. To all institutions and individuals who have supported the AFP during the height of Marawi campaign, for your endless show of support to our soldiers, your influx of moral, material, and financial assistance certainly boosted the morale of our fighting troops. Kayo po ang mga tunay na bayani ng ating mga bayani. To my mentors and former bosses, for your tutelage and guidance that instilled upon me the professionalism, dedication, and visionary leadership. I definitely learned well because you led me by example, and I hope that I also led well enough to pass on to the younger generations the valuable life lessons I have learned from you. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. To my mista classmates from the PMA Matikas class of 1993, your guidance and encouragement kept my own performance in check. All of you have been my steady source of inspiration and strength. I am forever thankful to all of you, mga mista. I admit that I may not have been the perfect leader, but I am certainly grateful to have the perfect team. From my partners in bringing peace to all parts of the country, the major service commanders, unified commanders, the commanders and chiefs of the AFP-wide support and separate units, up to my close associates, the top ranks, the Vice Chief of Staff, the Deputy Chief of Staff, and the members of the Joint Personnel and Special Staff. To my OCS AFP family, thank you for your unparalleled support and their dedication. You have definitely made my job as the Chief of Staff easier, and I am also grateful to all of you. To all the officers, enlisted personnel, and civilian employees whom I had the privilege to be working with in all the units and offices I have been to. You are and will always be appreciated because all of you played an important part in everything I have accomplished. Our shared sacrifices will be one of my most cherished memories. To all our foot soldiers, airmen, sailors, and marines, especially those not here today and are deployed in the front lines and the remotest detachments, thank you for continuously enduring the risk, the privations, and loneliness of distant posts. I am and will always be proud to have led to the bravest and best soldiers in the world. And to our Marawi soldiers still out there, I would like to recognize the presence here of Lieutenant General Galvez, Major General Pamonag, and Lieutenant General Bautista. Please stand up. They are our ground commanders that directly and personally led our troops in liberating Marawi. And if I am ever given the chance to go back in time, I shall gladly and willingly join you in battle once more, where the metal meets the meat, where I can share the risk and feel your struggles and see to it that you live in order to fight another day. And for those who have fallen through the night, rest assured that you are always remembered in thoughts and in prayers. Ako ay nagpupugay at tunay na humahanga sa bawat isa sa inyo, mga bayaning kawal Pilipino. And to the newly posted Chief of Staff of the AFP, Lieutenant General Leonardo Guerrero, with full trust and confidence, I pass on the savor of leadership to you. A seasoned and highly respected general with a vast experience and expertise, I know you are up to the challenge of leading our armed forces to more victories and accomplishments. I wish you the best of luck. You have the best men and women in uniform ready to serve under you. It has been my distinct pleasure to share my passion in service with you. Many years spent in this profession would not have been relevant if not for the imprints in history that we have attained together. Thank you, Team AFP. Palakpakan po natin ang Team AFP. Retirement is indeed a bittersweet moment. But on a brighter note, it means finally going home and spending more time with those who are closest to my heart. And so, I'd like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to my family for being with me every step of the way and for towing the line as a family of a military man. To my very supportive wife, Jean, the love of my life, who has been by my side since I was a cadet at PMA, for having found a best friend in you and a loving mother to our children. Marrying you was the most important decision I have made in my entire life. Behind your grace and class is a strong heart who has endured the challenge of being both mother and father during the times I was away because of duty. Every honor and accolade I have received is shared with you, for you equally deserve all the recognition for everything that I have ever accomplished in my career. Let me also recognize my children and grandchildren, Edwin Jr., Anna and Sander, Edward, Tina and Carrie, Janelle Marie, and Jasmine Claire. Jasmine Claire is not here because she's studying in South Korean University. You are my strength and inspiration. All of what I have achieved would be meaningless without you. Your unconditional love, support, and understanding have carried me through. More than the honor of holding the highest military position, having a happy family is another thing that I am so proud and grateful of. And as I hang my hat today, I am testament that the saying, a man may travel the world over in search of what he needs and returns home to find it. And now, as I end my remarks and render my final salute, allow me to once again to exhort the organization that has been my home for more than half of my life. I will be retiring from the military service, but certainly I shall always walk, talk, breathe, and live like a soldier. With the same passion and commitment, I will always be ready and willing to be of service to our country and people. Ikinararangal kong mapabilang sa hanay ng mga sundalong Pilipino. Salamat sa pagkakataong maglingkod at mamuno. Salamat sa mga kaibigang nakilala, sa karanasang natanggap at pagkilalang binigay. Lahat ng ito ay nagmula sa biyaya ng Panginoong Diyos. Lahat ng ito ay alay ng inyong abang lingkod sa sambayan ng Pilipino. Salamat at paalam. Hanggang sa ating muling patatakpo, ako ang inyong lingkod, Eduardo Monaghan Anyo, Sundalong Pilipino. Mabuhay ang sandatahang lakas ng
Thank you, General Anyo, sir.
Sampawan! Stop!
The guest of honor will now be introduced by the Secretary of National Defense, Delphine N. Lorenzana.
Mga kababayan, mga panauhin at mga kaibigan, ang Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Delphine, yung tag mo sa pagkabisita nandyan sa elbow mo. Kindly, thank you for your courtesy. Sit down. Troop Commander, could you please give the tikas pahinga to the troops?
Tikas! Hiya! Tikas! Hiya!
Vice President Maria Leonardo Guerrero, ma'am, magandang hapon po. Former President Fidel V. Ramos, alam mo, every time I get out from the vehicle, I'm always met by the Secretary of National Defense and the Chief of Staff. And he would stop me right there at the door of the car and where the last bottom. It suffocates me. And they would say, ibaba mo na lang yung fold mo sa barong. And it's not my fault. I got it from a former president, Fidel V. Ramos. He was the one who started the fashion, actually. Former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, Executive Secretary Salvador Medaldia, Defense Secretary Delphine Lorenzana, and the other members of the Cabinet, General Eduardo Anyo. I don't know if it's mentioned here, but General Anyo goes to be from a general to a secretary of the Cabinet. He would head the Department of Interior and Local Government. But while he is prohibited from assuming the task for 1 year, and that is the law, from the military service to the civilian sector, you have to wait for 1 year. Either he takes the title of a special assistant to the president or the undersecretary, whichever is tenable legally, and he will now supervise the National Police together to report maybe tomorrow. I will wait for you. The new Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Ray Guerrero, and the Major Service Commanders, Police Director General Ronald de la Rosa, the members of the House of Representatives, the officers, enlisted personnel, and civilian employees of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, mga kasama ko sa gobyerno, mga mahal kong kababayan. I consider it an honor to be with you today as we congratulate General Eduardo Año for his successful tour of duty as Chief of Staff of the AFP. General Año's distinguished leadership resulted to a stronger AFP that did not just secure our nation, but also secured our people's trust and confidence in the military establishment and the soldiers that it represents. General Año took command of the AFP in December last year. He was immediately beset with natural disaster that tested his leadership skills, proving his capability outside combat. General Año effectively supervised the AFP's humanitarian assistance and disaster response operation during the Rodrigo earthquake and the typhoons Nina and Auring. As part of the AFP's duty of preserving and defending our territorial integrity, General Año also authorized the regular conduct of long-range maritime, air, and naval patrols in the West Philippine Sea and the Benham Rise, known popularly now, otherwise this ACA. It's now the Philippine Rise. The Philippine Rise belongs to the Republic of the Philippines, and it is our territory, and let it be announced today to the whole world that we are claiming it for our people and country. This was complemented by its active pursuit of a trilateral cooperative arrangement with Malaysia and Indonesia to address security concerns in our adjacent waters. Under his able leadership, AFP also faced more than 800 armed confrontations, resulting to the seizure of almost 2,000 weapons and the neutralization of more than 2,000 enemies of the state. May I just insert something? I will now request the Chief of Staff, General Guerrero, to supervise the destruction of all arms, whether high-powered or handguns. All of it will be destroyed in some place to show that we are also able to meet the challenges of terrorism and violence. Of course, the crowning jewel of his impressive career is none other than the Battle of the Liberation of Marami, which resulted to the neutralization of almost 1,000 ISIS-inspired insurgents, which include high-value targets being hunted around the world, or being hunted. As General Año leaves behind his legacy and marches towards his final review of troops, I am confident that the AFP will sustain its gains because of the organizational and capability upgrades initiated during his tenure. These upgrades include the acquisition of new air and sea assets, state-of-the-art communications, and the intelligence gathering equipment and the latest military hardware that were initially used in dealing with the now decimated insurgents groups in Marawi. As we begin rebuilding from the ruins of war, we welcome Lieutenant General Leonardo Guerrero as the new Chief of Staff, with the hope that the AFP will remain at the forefront of our battle against all threats against our nation, external and internal. Let me assure you, the brave men and women of the AFP and other uniformed services of our government, that our government will do its best to enhance their capabilities and promoting the welfare of our soldiers and looking forward after the needs of their families. While this may not be enough to repay for their sacrifice, I am nonetheless hopeful that it would make them feel that our nation recognizes their bravery, heroism, and love of country. The battle may be over, but we must remain vigilant as we face the persistent challenges of terrorism, insurgency, especially in Mindanao. I therefore enjoin our troops to support the leadership of General Guerrero by remaining committed to your mission of ensuring safety and security for our nation. Armed with our people's unwavering trust and confidence, and fueled by the highest degree of professionalism and competence, our soldiers and will always be the front liners in the building a strong Philippine country that is prosperous and hopeful. This is the bastion of lasting peace and prosperity. Congratulations, John Anyo and General Guerrero, at mabuhay kayong lahat. Sandali lang. I am not begging the issue. I would just like to inform the small man down there na beginning January, look at your paychecks. It would have doubled your salary. Hindi ko lang po talagang increase into a double number na in parity with your old base pay, because that would be somewhat like a creation of a new position. Eh, bawal po yan, so you have to slide a few percentage. But just the same, you are the first in government to receive almost double your salaries now. And that is in recognition, especially to the comrades and to the Filipino soldiers and policemen who died in the line of duty. I will see to it that the wounded soldiers will be attended to. And for those who are into forced retirement, that we will have a program with them to make their lives happier in the next phase of their service to their country. Again, I say a little prayer every night. Yung mga sundalo kong namatay at sundalo kong pulis. And every night, I always hold the briefer. Ano, nakita ko yung resulta ng mga violent confrontations. Not really. I will not try to impose a lie on you. I do not cry, but I'm always on the verge of tears. Iniisip ko kanong kahirap niya. And that is why I went back and to and fro from our nation's capital, Manila. Pumunta ako doon sa Marawi almost seven times. Just to be with you and to show my solidarity na mahal ko ang aking armed forces, pati ang aking police. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much to President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Sampanaw! Da!
Please be seated. We shall proceed with the pass and review.
Kakalipunan sa malikod ko. Kad! Pasamasid! Anang balikat. To! Talu-talupad. Pasulong pihit sa kanan. Cut!
I'd like to request General Anya, sir, to proceed down the grandstand for the final review.
Today, this cliché, as they call it, is what everybody feels as we bid farewell to yet another military leader whose contribution and role in the armed forces have been a vital one, General Eduardo Monaghan Anyo.
As General Anyo relinquished his post, he is assured that his successor, Lieutenant General Leonardo B. Guerrero, will continue what he had worked on and even make the armed forces of the Philippines soar towards greater achievements.
To our honorary General Anyo, sir, the officers, men and women, and civilian personnel of the armed forces proudly wish you all the best. Congratulations, more power, Godspeed, and happy birthday, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, the various contingents of the armed forces of the Philippines, ang mga makabagong katipunero, makadiyos, makakalikas, makatao at makabansa. Leading the parading contingent is Major General Filimonte Santos Jr., his staff, Colonels Arnold Constantino and Conor Anthony Canlas, Captain Leo Ramon Miado, Colonels
The Composite Band. Under the baton of Sergeant Emmanuel de Taza, Colonels Marciano Jesus Guevara and Joseph Revilla, Commander Joseph Galvez, Lieutenant Colonels Danilo Parba and Alexander Osok.
We have the battalion from the General Headquarters led by Lieutenant Colonel Xavier Celestial. His staff majors Gregory Inumpa, Augusto Austria, Emmanuel Cuadra, and Jose Alan Mendoza. These officers and men of the General Headquarters and Headquarters Service Command share the popular concern in the sanctity of the constitutional processes and the safeguarding of individual liberties. They are the soldiers at the forefront of securing the AFP's headquarters and the National Capital Region.
The Army contingent, represented by the Security and Escort Battalion under the command of Major Benito de Sena, his staff, Captains Fabian Ranit, Ronnie Sikat, Ronel Rabot, and Jimson Duhenio. The Security and Escort Battalion is specially trained for area security and for rendering military honors to important personages and visiting dignitaries.
The protectors of the Philippines is in the first line of defense to uphold our territorial integrity, the Philippine Navy Battalion. Under Commander Washington Alba, his staff, Lieutenant Commanders Gregorio Perocho, Livan J. Cabiente, Rizaldi Salazar, and Peter Triunfante. The Navy secures our territorial waters and conducts sea lift operations in support of our troops, performs mercy missions, rescue and relief operations during calamities, and protects our marine resources and environment.
We now have the Angels of Mercy, the Guardians of Philippine Skies, the Air Force Battalion, led by Lieutenant Colonel Salvador D. and his staff, Majors Harold Carangian, Christopher Lawrence Abasta, Romel Briones, Elpidio Salinas, presented by the AFP or the Philippine Air Force Gala Battalion. This unit conducts military honors and the other ceremonial requirements of the Philippine Air Force.
Please stand for the passing of the colors. You may be seated as soon as the colors have passed. Thank you. Please be seated. The 2nd Brigade is commanded by Brigadier General Emilio Cruz Jr., his staff, Lieutenant Colonels Mark Anthony Songadan, George Garcia, Hilario de Vera, Larry Lebig, and Marvin Ronald Anal.
Following is the Philippine Army Composite Battalion under Lieutenant Colonel Edwin Alburo. His staff Majors Ferdinand Basas, Carlito Mar Galvez IV, Alan Angan-Angan, Joe Ligutan.
Before you know, or following next, is the Philippine Marine Corps Battalion, headed by Lieutenant Colonel Noel Calendatas. His staff Majors Peter Vingua, Carlo Bubuli, Francel Mendoza, and Charlie Domingo. A specially trained fighting unit of the Navy designed for rapid deployment, the Philippine Marines conduct amphibious and special operations in all kinds of terrain and in any weather condition. The Marines are known for their fine fighting qualities, endurance, combat effectiveness. The few, the proud, the Philippine Marines.
Following next is the battalion from the 710th Special Operations Wing of the Philippine Air Force, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Ronaldo Zaragoza. His staff, Majors Alain Oliver Palastique, Alf Demar Usman, Captain Ryan Pulmano, and Lieutenant June Endaya. The 710th Special Operations Wing conducts special operations for the defense of Air Force bases and installations and perform other contingency operations. Train hard, fight to win. That is the 710th Special Operations Wing.
Trailing behind is the Armed Forces of the Philippines Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Response Composite Units under Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Fuentes. His staff Majors Adrian Ferrer, Dennis Sadama, and Julius Mate, and Lieutenant Commander Gregorio Perocho. These units have been the first responders in times of disasters and calamities. Before you are the 505th the 505th Search and Rescue Group of the Philippine Air Force, the 525th Engineer Combat Battalion of the 51st Engineer Brigade Philippine Army, and the HADR Composite Units of the Philippine Navy. Ladies and gentlemen, you have just seen a segment of your armed forces passed before you. They represent our brothers and sisters out there in the field, defending our freedom and independence as well as our democratic institutions.
The Troop Commander, Major General Felimonte Sanchez Jr., will now report the termination of this afternoon ceremony.
Unan! Tok! Ginoo, tapos na po ang parangan. Happy birthday, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a big hand for General Eduardo Monaghan Anyo.
We would like to remind everyone to remain seated until the President has left the grandstand.
Bago sawa na ang bayan ko sa magnanakaw na tao. Madilim na kahapon, ikaw ang mag-aahon. Sa piling mo, di ko mawawala ang korupsyon. Tayo na, Pilipinas.
Once again, we would like to remind everyone to please remain where you are until the President has left the grandstand. Thank you.
Hawak kamay tayo para sa pagkasenso. Ikaw at ako, tayong lahat kay Rodrigo Duterte, para sa tunay na pagbabago. Masdan mo ang paligid, alamak mga krimen, rape, droga at mga nakawan, dapat nang mapigilan. Tayo na, Pilipinas, tayo na magbago. Hawak kamay tayo para sa pagkasenso. Ikaw at ako, tayong lahat kay Rodrigo Duterte, para sa tunay na pagbabago.
Why am I here? I am here because I love my country and I love the people of the Philippines.
Ikaw at ako, tayong lahat kay Rodrigo Duterte, para sa